She was just a shy waitress working quietly in a small cafe tucked away on the corner of a busy street. Every morning, she would walk through the back door just as the sun began to rise, tying her apron around her waist with practiced hands. She didn't talk much. Most of the other waiters joked around, laughed, shared stories, and played music during prep time. But she preferred silence, or at least a quiet rhythm. The sound of coffee brewing, cups clinking, the gentle chatter of early customers. That was her comfort. Her name was Emily. To most people, she was just another face in the crowd. Polite, reserved, and maybe a little mysterious. But behind that shy smile was a story few knew. Emily wasn't shy because she lacked confidence. She was quiet because she understood that sometimes silence carried more meaning than words ever could. It was an ordinary Thursday morning when the moment that would change her life and touch the hearts of thousands began. The cafe was filled with the smell of freshly ground coffee, beans, and warm pastries. Emily moved gracefully between tables, refilling cups, taking orders, and smiling softly whenever someone said thank you. Her eyes always carried warmth, even when she didn't say much. She had a gift, the ability to make people feel seen. Around 10 a.m., the door chimed and two people stepped in. A tall, sharply dressed man, maybe in his mid-30s, and an older woman beside him wearing a calm, gentle smile. The man carried himself with quiet authority. His suit alone probably cost more than Emily made in a month, but the woman beside him had a softness that balanced his presence. The staff whispered among themselves. It wasn't every day that someone like him came in. He was Daniel Harper, a billionaire entrepreneur known for his chain of luxury hotels and massive charity projects. Everyone knew his face from magazines and television interviews, but what most people didn't know was that his mother, Margaret, had been deaf since birth. Emily noticed them immediately. As Daniel helped his mother to a table near the window, she could tell by the way his lips moved and his mother's eyes focused intently that they were communicating differently. Emily paused for a moment, watching. The gestures, the expressions, they told a story even without sound. She took a deep breath and walked toward them, her notepad ready. "Good morning," she said softly. "Welcome to Cafe Willow. What can I get for you today?" Daniel smiled politely and looked to his mother, then turned back to Emily. "My mother can't hear you," he explained gently. "I'll order for both of us if that's okay." Emily felt something stir inside her, a quiet recognition. She nodded. But before he could continue, she placed her notepad down and made eye contact with his mother. Then, with a small smile, she raised her hands and began to sign. "Good morning. Welcome. What would you like to drink?" Margaret's eyes widened. For a moment she didn't react, as if she was unsure she'd seen it right. Then her face broke into a smile so radiant it seemed to light up the entire cafe. Daniel froze mid-sentence, his expression a mix of surprise and disbelief. He looked at the waitress, this quiet young woman in a simple uniform, as she continued to sign fluently, her hands moving with elegance and confidence. Margaret responded in sign language, her fingers trembling slightly with emotion. "Coffee. Black, please. And thank you." Emily signed back, of course. "I'll bring it right away." As Emily walked away, Daniel's eyes followed her, still stunned. "You know sign language?" he asked when she returned with their drinks. She smiled, setting the cups gently on the table. "Yes, my younger sister was born deaf," she explained softly. "I learned so we could talk. It's been a big part of my life." For a moment, Daniel didn't know what to say. His mother reached out, touching Emily's hand gently. A simple gesture, but one filled with gratitude. The other customers had begun to notice too. The cafe had gone quieter. People were watching the interaction with quiet awe. A young waitress signing fluently with a deaf woman, both smiling, both understanding each other in a way that transcended sound. It was one of those moments where time seemed to slow down, where the noise of the world faded, and what remained was pure human connection. After they finished their meal, Daniel asked Emily if she could join them for a moment. She hesitated, unsure if she was allowed, but he insisted. "I have to say," he began, "you completely surprised us. My mother hasn't had a conversation like that with a stranger in years. Most people just smile politely or avoid talking altogether." Emily looked down, a little embarrassed. "I just wanted her to feel included," she said quietly. "Everyone deserves to be spoken to in their language." Daniel's expression softened. He looked at his mother, who was wiping away a tear. You did more than that, he said. You made her feel seen. The older woman signed something to her son, who translated, his voice trembling slightly. She says you reminded her that kindness still exists in the world. Emily smiled shyly, her eyes glistening. That means more than you know, she whispered. When the two of them left, the cafe remained quiet for a while. Customers sat with thoughtful expressions, some even tearing up. A few clapped softly as Emily walked back to the counter, not because she had done something heroic, but because she had reminded everyone of something profoundly simple, that kindness is universal, and compassion doesn't need words. Later that day, as Emily was cleaning up after closing time, her manager came up to her with a strange look. You won't believe this, he said. That man you served earlier, Daniel Harper, and he just called. Emily froze, her heart skipping a beat. Called why? He wants to talk to you, the manager said. He left his number and said it was important. That night, Emily hesitated for hours before finally picking up the phone and calling. Daniel answered almost immediately. His tone was warm, sincere, not like the billionaire she imagined from television interviews. Emily, he said, I wanted to thank you again. My mother couldn't stop talking about you. Well, signing about you, and all day. She said it was one of the happiest moments she's had in years. Emily smiled, though he couldn't see it. I'm really glad, she said softly. There was a pause. Then Daniel continued, I was wondering, would you consider working with us? We're starting a new community program, one that provides training and employment for people with disabilities. We could use someone like you, someone who understands both worlds. Emily's breath caught in her throat.
Me? She asked, incredulous. Yes, you, he said.
You have empathy, patience, and a heart that sees people, not labels. That's rare. For a moment, Emily couldn't speak. She had spent years working quietly, unseen, often doubting if her small acts of kindness ever made a difference. And now one simple gesture, one decision to sign instead of speak, had opened a door she never imagined. A few weeks later, Emily found herself standing in a large conference room overlooking the city skyline. She was nervous, clutching her hands, waiting as Daniel and his team explained the project, a foundation called the Silent Bridge. Its goal was to connect businesses with the deaf and hard of hearing community, promoting inclusion through awareness and education. Daniel introduced her to the group as the reason this project began. The room filled with applause, and Emily's eyes welled up. She thought of her sister, of all the people who felt invisible because they couldn't hear the world, and she realized that maybe, just maybe, her quietness had always been her strength. Months passed, and the Silent Bridge grew faster than anyone expected. Emily became a key part of the program, organizing workshops, helping companies learn basic sign language, and ensuring workplaces became more inclusive. She spoke and signed at conferences, inspiring others to learn and connect. One afternoon, she found herself back at the cafe where it all began. Daniel's mother was there too, sitting at their old table, smiling as she watched the bustling crowd. Emily sat beside her, signing as they laughed together. I still can't believe this all started because of one cup of coffee, Daniel said, joining them. Emily chuckled. Sometimes the smallest moments change everything, she replied. He nodded. You know, he said thoughtfully, when I first saw you signing to my mother, I thought I was watching something simple. But later I realized, well, it wasn't just communication. It was compassion in motion. You didn't just speak her language. You spoke to her heart. Emily looked out the window, watching the sunlight dance on the sidewalk. That's all anyone really wants, she said. To be heard, and even in silence. Daniel smiled. And you made the world listen. In that moment, surrounded by the hum of the cafe and the quiet laughter of a woman who had once felt isolated from the world, Emily realized that her story had come full circle. She had started as a shy waitress, invisible to most, quietly serving others, but her kindness, gentle, unspoken, and sincere, had built a bridge between worlds. It wasn't about fame or recognition or fortune. It was about the power of one simple truth, that kindness, when given freely, has the strength to echo far beyond words. And in that small cafe, where it all began, silence once again spoke louder than anything else.